Settle in, sweet spirits. I want to talk to you about taking versus giving. I want to talk to you about takers versus givers. This information was downloaded in the dream state, and I awakened and got it all on paper and then typed it out to myself. So I'm going to do my best to translate it and read it to you in hopes that it might support the givers out there, making their way, finding their way, feeling confused, not understanding their own energetic system, having life reflect to them, relationships that are unfulfilling, painful, unsatisfying, disorienting, confusing. It's my intention to offer this to support anyone trying to make their way and anyone looking to gain a sense of sovereignty, of dominion over their own energetic field. So Jeff Foxworthy is a comedian, and he had this way of talking about rednecks. You may be a redneck if yada, yada, yada. So this is the way it starts out. You may be a taker if you leave a conversation after talking with someone and have little to no new information about the other person, their ideas, their feelings, or their situation in life. You may be a taker if after talking with someone and looking back, they were quiet 90 to 95% of the time. You may be a taker if you are only intellectually curious, not actually curious about other people around you and their experiences. You may be a taker if someone who cares about you has given you feedback about your relationship, and instead of pausing to be curious about its validity, you immediately gaslight, diminish, use sarcasm, categorize, or justify your behavior and actions. You may be a taker if you feel energized after being with someone and you have no idea or no care and no interest in how they're feeling. You may be a taker if you always reach out to your caring, compassionate, reliable friend, coworker, family member when you don't feel good, instead of reaching in or up to spirit. It's kind of like a quick fix. You may be a taker if you're watching this and you feel energy rising, triggering energy. You feel contempt, judgment, or defensiveness. You may be a taker if you care more about getting your points across than in understanding the person that you're dialoguing with. You may be a taker if you feel entitled to the giver's energy and good graces without any form of reciprocity. You may be a taker if you say you care about someone but don't show them by your actions. For the takers, just so you know for next time, it took more courage than you realize for the giver in your life to speak to you about their painful, ongoing experience of you. The appropriate response should be compassion, empathy, curiosity, understanding, or validation, regardless of if you have the openness to receive feedback about your character that may be unflattering to your false sense of self. If at this point you're questioning whether or not you're a taker, don't worry, takers don't question themselves in this way. If you're listening and relating to what I'm saying, more than likely, you're a giver. And believe me, I know that this is generalized and simplistic, and I'm pointing out two sides of the same coin, but bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. It's a call to action. This whole translation is a call to action for the givers. Stop giving to the takers now. Without excuse, shame, regret, or guilt. The collective is in crisis. From my perspective, it's a crisis of spirit, a crisis of ego, a crisis of discernment. As individuals, as souls and sovereign beings, it's our sacred privilege to awaken and to move through this process of becoming aware, becoming connected, remembering our freedom. It's not new. None of this, none of what I'm saying is new. We have always been that, free. But this life, these systems, the collective energy has contributed to your lack, to my lack of peace and autonomy. Some souls, by nature or by wits, have figured out how to game the system by attaching to you, to your energy, your care, your peace, and they're leeching it. Maybe in small ways, maybe in big, painful, obvious ways. Mostly unconsciously, people take. After all, it is self-preservation. We're wired for it. The systems are breaking down. They're currently breaking down. The veils are being lifted, and by the grace of God, some of us have had the clarity and vision about this very destructive dynamic. To be very clear, I'm aware of projections. I'm aware of unresolved trauma. I'm aware of the codependent, narcissistic dynamic, the victim, perpetrator, savior dynamic. Waking up to the deeper truths about yourself can often cause a cognitive dissonance, which is disorienting and painful and confusing. It was for me. In my experience, a taker is not likely to give up the pretense, the fortress of an ego, the construct of personhood for the inner benefit of personal development. Facing those demons and those shadows is for the courageous few. And that's who I'm speaking to. The takers don't see the benefit in upsetting their intimate experience because indeed they have no understanding or experience of themselves as part of the whole. It's beneath them, it's not worth their time, and it's of no personal benefit. And you givers are a huge, huge part of the problem. Giving yourself away without discernment, allowing your boundaries to be crossed, allowing others to talk over you, to alter your environment without permission, allowing disrespect and disregard, allowing gaslighting and the silent treatment and name calling, continually apologizing for God knows what, anything and everything. If you say you're sorry more than once a week, you may be an unchecked giver. Stop. Stop. There is imbalance in you. There was imbalance in me. The sickness is perverse and largely unrecognized, but you know the feeling. If you're a giver exposed to the sucking energy of a taker after spending time with them or even just being on the phone, you will feel agitated, uneasy, disappointed, unseen, unheard, disregarded, and mainly drained of your life force. And I mean a decrease in your energy. That is no friend. We givers then take that to mean there must be something wrong with us. And we dive into self-help and trying to figure out what's wrong with us and how we can fix it, what we can do about it, how we can pretzel ourselves into feeling better. Here's my hack. A shortcut to save you from the unnecessary pain and certainly suffering. Cut them loose. Save yourself. They aren't interested in your well-being. They're interested to know if you will keep letting them plug into you and drain you of your resources, energetically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, physically. I woke up to this horrifying dynamic playing out in my own consciousness about a year ago. Thank you. Thank you, 2020. It's been a painful, painful discovery process. Learning to take full responsibility and accountability for my life and the people in it. It's been harder than being initiated into widowhood at the age of 27. I'm speaking of this now because this is also a pandemic and most of all the players are asleep. More and more there's a quickening. And if you're here and still listening, my plea is that you stop giving to takers. Both sides of this dynamic are unwell. Both sides. The problem is lack of awareness. The takers are handicapping the givers. There are unmet needs on both sides of this equation. If we don't learn to connect in to get our needs met on the inner planes of reality, then we're going to keep hurting each other, blaming each other, abusing each other. Stop giving your power away. Stop apologizing. Stop pretending you're okay when you're not. Stop trying to rehabilitate the takers in your life. There is no time. We're out of time. And they don't want that anyway. They don't want to stop taking. They don't want to stop using and abusing your unguarded, unboundaried self, you have some inner work to do, some serious life-changing work. You can change your ways, your ideas, your patterns of living, your everything, but the taker's gotta go. Find more souls like you. Yeah, they may not be as cool or exciting or evoke those juicy energies. Get over it. Get over it. The desire for that comes from an unhealed place in you anyway, sweet one. They are at least not going to siphon your energy, these other givers. They're not going to manipulate you or try to steal your power. Turn your energy inward for healing and connect to other givers for support. Yeah, the message has a bit of an edge. I'm interested in saving souls, mainly my own. And if I can serve another by admitting my own struggle with this, then that's going to be enough. Imagine if all the givers started taking care of each other. Imagine if you could discern in one conversation if the other person was truly vested in your well-being or not. Imagine allowing all the takers learning to get their own energy needs met from nature, from source, from their own aligned being, instead of stealing it from unhealed and wounded givers confused about their own worthiness and sense of self-esteem. This is possible. The message may not be for many, but for those of you who are resonating, I see you, I feel you, I love you, I'm here. I'm learning too. I'm a work in progress. I'm a life in motion. I'm here to champion your freedom, your full expression, your sovereignty and your power. May you come back to yourself fully, completely, with grace and courage. I love you, I love you, I love you, and you're not alone in this. Sending you all my love, all my care, all my compassion from the mountain, from my heart to yours.